Hey friends, and welcome back for another Tuesday with Nye. This week I made 5 tops with 5 different fabrics, so you don't have to. You want to know how it goes? Well, you got to stick around. I'm Nye with LA and Mac. Let's go, friends. So hey, I decided to make 5 cold shoulder tops out of 5 different fabrics, so you don't have to. You can see exactly how these fabrics behave with this pattern. I used the exact same pattern to cut each top. I sewed each top individually and I tried them on. So they're all the same size top, just 5 different types of fabrics. And the reason why I did this is because sometimes we wonder if a certain pattern is going to work for us in a different fabric or in a different type of stretch. Well, sometimes it also helps when we can see how that works out. This fabric is an ITY. It has 4-way stretch. It's a light fabric, so if I were to kind of hold it up, I could probably slightly see through it, but not really. This is the kind of fabric that this pattern is made for, a 4-way stretch fabric. I'm not saying that ITY is the only one, but there are lots of 4-way stretch fabrics out there that you could use that would completely comply with the pattern requirements. This fabric was particularly difficult to work with. It's a little bit slippery, and so the necklines were a little bit tough. I suggest if you're going to sew this top out of a slippery fabric such as ITY, that you hand sew the beginnings and ends of your bands first. Just tack them in place so they don't slide all over the place when you're trying to serge that top together. So that's one downside to this fabric. An upside to this fabric is that it's warm. Although this fabric is quite thin, it actually does insulate quite well. And for the fall, I need that because in the morning, it's freezing, Nancy. And in the afternoon, it's like, oh, the sun comes out and it's really warm. So I like this top for that particular reason. I can get a little peekaboo action here and also look kind of cute. Now, this is how the ITY behaves. It's perfectly fine under my arms. I have no issues with movement. It drapes nicely across the neck area, or a décolletage. I like the draping here, the way it drapes here across the hip. It can be a little loosely draped because of the type of fabric, because of the weight of the fabric. It doesn't have that like luscious drape, but it still works. Here, I like the ties on the side. It ties up perfectly well. I like the shape that it gives me. It doesn't cling to the back, but it does gently lay across the body in the back. So now you know what the ITY looks and feels like in the cold shoulder top. Let's move to our next fabric. Shimmy time. You know I had to shimmy. Okay, this next top is a cotton jersey. I like cotton jersey for pretty much every season, but mostly for spring and fall transition time. It can keep me warm, but only when layered with cardigans and things of that nature, which is why this type of top is perfect because you have, like I said, the little peekaboo, right, for weather when it's a little bit warmer, and you can cover up with a cardigan when it's not so warm, like in the morning time. One thing I did not like about this fabric is that it is a 2-way stretch and therefore the drape doesn't look as fantastic as it probably should. It kind of falls flat. Yeah, it just kind of flops there in the front. So I don't really like the way it drapes in the front. At the same time, something I really did love about this fabric is that it presses so well. I was able to press the bands and sew them together with 0 problems. It is wonderful for making memory creases. I had no problem finding any part of the band that I had memory creased ahead of time, so that's a big deal. I also like that the fabric rolls. And because this is not a printed fabric, it doesn't matter if it's rolling from the back or the front, so you can completely skip sewing the ties and just pull that fabric and knot it at the ends. Now I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. It also doesn't cling. I don't have any issue with arm movement. The side is great. It pulls a little bit because the weight of the fabric is not super like heavy, so it pulls a little bit right here. So yeah, it looks a little bit different than the ITY, but it's still a pretty good choice for this pattern. If you like, because it's not super fitted, you shouldn't have too much of an issue with a two-way stretch fabric. Let's find the next one. Shimmy! I had to do that. Okay, so I'm back. This fabric is a Lush rib knit. It's a medium weight rib knit, and I kind of like the way it feels. It's very soft. It has a little bit of a silky feel to it. And in this top, I chose to make the 3/4 sleeve and the band. So there are no straps on this side. The reason being is because I want you to see how this top was made, and it doesn't only have one option. Clutch the pearls, I get options. Yes. Okay. So if you're not a big fan of the ties on the side or you don't like this shape, you might want to try it with the band, okay? And you can wear the band like this. It's a little extra sexy. Or you could just choose to kind of flop it up here and wear it a little bit loose. It depends on your personality, your style, and whatever you want to do. So if I turn to the side, you can see this fabric has a little bit more stability to it. So in places where it would naturally drape for another fabric, it doesn't actually drape, it kind of sits. So you can see here at the armhole, it doesn't drape downward, it just kind of sits there at my arm very firmly. And the same thing with the sleeves. They don't drape, they just kind of stick out, if you can see that. There's the back. And the side with that band. Okay, so it sits just at my buttocks area right there. And then if I turn around, you can see the full shape of this top. One thing that is a positive about this rib knit is that it is warm. So on days that it's maybe slightly chillier, this would be a really good option. One thing I didn't like so much about this fabric is that it does not maintain a memory crease. You're not going to be able to memory crease those bands like the tutorial says. But at the same time, if you can eyeball it or if you can mark it with a marker that disappears when you wash it, you're golden. I rather like this. Let's check out that next top.
But before we check out that next top, I need to do the wash.
Okay, this top is a Rayon French terry. It feels so soft and cozy inside. I feel like this could be worn to keep you a little bit warmer when your shoulders are like, we're cold. The rest of you is like, yes, Nancy. So I really, really like this French terry for this project. Even though this fabric is a two-way stretch, it still kind of works with this pattern because it's slightly heavier than the other fabrics that I used. It has a little bit better of a drape in the front and the back. And just like the others, it doesn't pull and it doesn't kind of feel weird in the back. So here, have a look. I chose to do the long sleeve option. Now, one thing about the long sleeve option is that in a two-way stretch fabric, you're not going to get the movement that you necessarily want. So if the sleeves tend to be narrow for you, then you might want to increase your sleeve size. So I didn't because I don't mind the sleeves actually quite fitted. This fabric is a medium weight Rayon French terry with two-way stretch. I like the way it works with this pattern. I had zero issues sewing it up and getting it on, y'all. I mean, not getting it. Oh, Marvin Gaye. Let's check out the next top. Hi, friends. Do you like the content that I make here every week for Elliot and Mac? Well, if you do, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the fun on Tuesdays with Nye. Okay, here I am, and I did a thing. Can you tell the thing? Okay, so I added these sleeves from the cuddle top to the cold shoulder top, and I really like the way it turned out. I feel like this is kind of a super snazzy option to have, and you're not going to find this in the store. Anyway, this is a Pointelle. I really love Pointelle because it's kind of light and airy, and at the same time can still kind of keep you warm. Now generally I would make like a cardigan or something out of this just because I just want to cover up with it, but I felt that the flow would work really well with the sleeves I was going to put on this top, and I just went for it. You know, sometimes what you're thinking might work, and sometimes if you're thinking it won't work, try it anyway. So here I am, I tried it for you. I did the cold shoulder top in a Pointelle, and I love it. The drape here, I love the way the drape kind of starts here and comes all the way down. It's a nice kind of gentle drape. On the sides, I get a good shape. In the back, it's the same. On the sides, I love this kind of romantic gather, if you will. And in the front, I love the way it looks. Now this fabric was so super duper easy to sew. I had zero issues. The neckline and arm lines were super easy to sew together and top stitch. I'm very happy with how it turned out. I don't have any issues with movement of my arms or body, and I feel like I could really like get down in this like top.
Like, hey girl.
Okay, no, maybe not. But I am gonna do the running man for this top. Okay, now don't come for me because I know these pants don't match, but I wanted to wear each top with a basic pant that like kind of isn't super like, look at me. So if you're wondering why I'm wearing black pants with all these tops, I wouldn't necessarily do that with all these tops. So that was super fun. Did you all have a good time? I had a pretty good time. And now you know what the cold shoulder top looks like in 5 different fabrics. Which one was your favorite? I already know which one is mine. If you like what I'm doing here, go ahead and smash that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. Tell your friends. Come back next Tuesday because next Tuesday I'm going to show you how to do these sleeves and we're going to have a great time. I'll see you next week. Bye, friends.